Okay, in the last video, we were talking about the algorithm, what an algorithm is, and how to express that any algorithm. And we saw that algorithm is just a step-by-step procedure, but how to express an algorithm may vary. I mean, you need not always to have plain English to or any natural language to express algorithm. The reason is that the natural languages are normally so expressive, and each and every sentence they may have multiple meaning. So it is a good idea to come up with a structured way to express an algorithm such that each and every statement is completely unambiguous. And one such way is to express algorithms using flowcharts. Flowcharts are graphical ways of expressing algorithms. Here we are taking the problem here we are discussing is computing pay of different employees of some company. And the procedure of, I mean, if there are several employees, let's say employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, and so on. Let's say there are several employees in a company, and having each employee has name, phone number, email, and all the credentials. And then let's say the pay is computed on hourly basis, and each employee has worked certain hours, for example 8 hours, and each employee has an hourly rate, might be, let's say, 100 units, whatever the units are. Employee 2 might have worked, for example, 7 hours, but the hourly rate of this employee might be 200. Different employees, they might have worked for different number of hours, and each employee can have a different hourly rate depending upon the capacity of the employee or the job nature the employee is doing, and so on. So if we want to compute pay of all the employees one by one, the procedure of computing pay stays the same. The instances, they differ. For employee 1, the value of hour is 8, the value of rate is 100. For employee 2, the procedure will stay the same. The values of hour and rate, they will differ. So what should be the procedure? The procedure might be that you take the input of, let's say, employee 1 or whatever employee you are going to compute salary for, take the hours value, in a placeholder, call that placeholder as hours, placeholder or a variable. Why this is called a variable? Because for different employees this value will be different. Hours will take value 8 for E1, employee 1. This variable, this placeholder, will take value 7 for employee 2, and so on. Similarly, once whatever employee for which you are going to compute the pay, if you have taken the hours from some records, from some working records, then take the rate for the same employee as well. So input this, that's step 1. Input 2, that is step 2. The sequence of these two steps may change. For example, you take the rate value first and the hours value later than that. But either way, that's one way of expressing this procedure. And then you compute the pay by this formula. So hours multiplied by rate. So maybe this is confusing, writing a star. Maybe we should write this cross symbol because that is more common in mathematics. Or maybe this whole line can be replaced by this particular line, maybe. So pay is equal to multiply hours and rate. Maybe this is more expressive, but it completely depends. I mean, when you start writing pseudocode or whatever pseudocodes you're writing, what kind of keywords, begin is a keyword, end is a keyword, what kind of keywords you're using, and stay with those keywords. For example, if the keyword input is to use to take to get the values to process on, then input should stay everywhere wherever we want to do such kind of operation. If you're using, for example, the value get rather than input, then use get always. But come up with some set of keywords that are expressive as well as concise, and then take the sequence of those statements. Each and every statement should have a unique meaning, It should not be ambiguous. And the sequence should be the sequence describe the flow of what is happening, what is going on. So first we take hours, then we take rate, these two values for any kind of employee, and then we will just multiply them. And after multiplication, whatever decision we want to make based on this pay, we will do that. We may record this value, this pay value at some other records register. We may print that value on a print slip. We may have emailed this value to some other department, whatever decision we want to make. But the procedure really is still here. Then based on pay, whatever action we are going to do, that may differ. Similarly, if we go, this is I mean some kind of structured example of the expressiveness of an algorithm, which is called a pseudocode. And what kind of keywords you're going to use? There are no general keywords. I mean, some people may use get, some people may use a different kind of keywords for it. But it is good to come up with a set of keywords to describe the solution of the problem. In flowchart, for example, every statement here that is here in pseudocode, every statement is described as a shape. Different shapes for different kind of statements. If you want to take input, then you have to describe that action using a parallelogram. If you're going to do some computation, you have to express that using a rectangle. The start symbol and end symbol, the start and end of any procedure in flowcharts, they are described by the ovals. For example, this oval and that oval. Normally the flowchart sequence is from top to down, but it is always good to just print the arrows to describe the flow, because in complicated flowcharts there are loops, there are if conditions, there are so many things. So it is good always to describe the flow using arrows. So now the question is flowchart or pseudocode, because flowchart also looks like very cool way of writing, expressing an algorithm, and pseudocode is also a way of expressing an algorithm. Well, converting flowchart to actual programming code is somewhat tedious. Writing a pseudocode beforehand, which is readable, which is precise, concise, as well as unambiguous, then converting that pseudocode to code of any programming language, that is not that hard, that is simple. And writing flowcharts for very complicated problems is somewhat tedious, because then it also requires another transition from flowchart to the actual programming code. That's why writing pseudocode is more feasible if the goal eventually is to convert that pseudocode to some code of programming language. So you can go with flowchart, you can go with pseudocode, either one is fine, but more feasible way of expressing algorithms is pseudocode. That was just a very simple example. I mean, computing salary of an employee, writing a procedure for that. I mean, this is so simple, nobody may care writing that kind of writing solution of this kind of problem as an algorithm or as a pseudocode or as a flowchart. But the basic idea is the same. Even if you have a complicated problem, even if you have a problem with maybe many more steps, the idea is still the same. In the next video, we will see a procedure how to make tea, for example. That may look to you funny. I mean, do we really want to know the procedure to make tea? Well, the idea is not to learn how to make tea. The idea is to learn how to express the solution of this problem. Making tea, that's a problem. The solution of this, how to express solution of that problem as a pseudocode, and we will see one more example of flowchart as well. So hope to see you in the next video.